Yeah, a long way from a stuttering kid. I didn't get enough love.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the How Men Cry podcast. The How Men Cry campaign is simply focused at getting 1,000 men to talk more comfortably about vulnerability and mental health. And today we got some family in the house. Well, not exactly my family, but family of one of the main producers here on How Men Cry. Brother Selase, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. This will be great because a lot of the times, I'm chatting with guys that maybe I have a little bit of background with, or some further connection. So this will be all new to me in terms of hearing your story, and that's always refreshing. So school me on whenever you got to about you and your life.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be a nice pool of water to dive into.
Yeah. So just for starters, man, you want to tell the listeners at home just who you are, maybe a bit about yourself. I see you got a lot of projects. I saw the Guy on the Couch project, a couple other things.
Yes, got some things cooking. I'm an actor here in the DFW area, and I have representation in Chicago with Promote Talent. I do television and commercial work. A lot of print work, anything from Lifetime Fitness to Gold's Gym to Raising Cane's Chicken. I'm generally somebody's fake daddy, in most of these campaigns. I've had a few television spots on Queen of the South, and most recently the new CW show Walker, like the reboot of Texas Walker Ranger.
Nice.
And a few films that are out on Amazon Prime, from Sense of Urgency to a workout series, Kettlebell Fitness, provided by Selase Botchway. So those are some of the things that I do like on camera. And outside of that, I'm a Marvel character. So I play Spider-Man, Black Panther, Iron Man for national Marvel campaigns. So anything from Make-A-Wish Foundation to going to different military installations, talking about anti-bullying and superhero fitness, to the kids that are at different military installations from Canada all the way down to Mexico City, everything East Coast. I'm the number one Spider-Man on the East Coast as soon as things get back up again, towards the end of this year. With the Marvel universe and everything. So I've been very blessed to have those types of connections, and like what you mentioned, Guy on the Couch, that is my own personal podcast. Talking to my friends that are in the industry and aren't in the industry, might be in finance, or they might be directors or doing whatever it is that they're doing, that I find them to be interesting, just diving deeper into their brains to find out, how other jobs work. And it's almost like a travel journal because I do a lot of traveling as well. So got a lot of things cooking, and the podcast with me and Audrey, Boston, so a lot of information to be learned personally and to be shared, that's part of the journey.
So light work. So you're not multifaceted at all. That's what I got.
Basically, one hat, one feather. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Talking to real life superheroes out here. You out here fulfilling childhood dreams of many, man. That's
big really, facts. Really I've always wanted to be a superhero, and things have manifested their way that way.
Yeah, man, that is really, really dope, man. I don't even know where to start. But one of the first, of course, questions comes to mind is like, how did you grow up? How did you find that type of interest and passion? Because that's not necessarily, acting, of course, is more general, but just kind of the different things that you've stepped your feet in. How'd you get motivated to kind of pursue things like that?
It might be I always revert back to watching the Cosbys. Mm-hmm. The Cosby Kids. It's really all kid actors, for me, watching them as a child, looking at them just put out so much dialogue on camera. That was very inspirational to me, you know?
Yeah.
And seeing young Black kids during that time period gave me the mindset that, hey, I could probably do this on a different type of level. So I would ask my mom, hey, can I do this stage play? And I was doing random stage plays like in elementary school,
Nice.
you know, and my mom would show me these pictures because, you know, as you grow older, you push out certain memories. And then she would show me this picture of me like on stage when I'm 7 years old. I'm like, okay, well, there it is. You know,
Yeah,
I
you
get it.
stayed true. You stayed
Yeah,
true to it.
you know,
Yeah.
and certain things just presented themselves, or certain opportunities presented themselves as my life progressed. You know, there's, I might be butchering the saying, you know, your preparation comes to those that that are prepared, or excuse me, opportunities comes to those that are prepared for the scenarios. I'm butchering
No,
the
I know what
saying.
you. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not even going to try because I would also butcher it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're in.
So
Yeah. You've been sharpening the tools. You've been sharpening the
yeah,
tools for some time.
for something, and I've always, at least in this realm, I've talked to my friends. I've always like, hey, if I want to do this, you know, I've always been the guy amongst my friends that is like more not aspirational, but more not lofty with their dreams. But being an actor is, you know, you're putting all your cards in on
And yeah,
yourself. You know,
yeah,
it's not your regular 9 to 5 or anything, you know. So you kind of have to believe in yourself more than the next person believes in you, you know.
yeah.
So um
That's great, man.
yeah, just little things that just presented themselves, and I feel like you just have to capitalize on those certain scenarios to put yourself in the next best position. Like you always want to alley oop yourself to the next thing, you know, constantly
Yeah,
trying to work on something, you know. I'm not sure if that answers that question. Maybe it was
yeah,
too
yeah.
lofty of an answer.
So, no, I love it. I love it. So so even with that, just in the context of just maybe narratives as you were growing up, did you find a lot of support, you know, within your community from pursuing those things, or do you feel like maybe you had to really kind of self harness that and you know, bring it for yourself? You spoke to having to be able to believe in yourself, and just from seeing those images, but you know, was that something that you had to still kind of push yourself over the edge to say, all right, I'm really gonna do this?
Great question. It's a lot of self harnessing, because
Mhm.
coming from, you know, first generation Ghanaian, you know, Audrey, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
so we fresh off the boat, you know. I'm supposed to be
yeah,
a doctor or a businessman, or you know, or something else. I'm not
yeah,
supposed to be doing the arts. So this is not part of the journey, part of the plan, you know.
yeah,
So coming from like first generation, being first generation here, and telling my mom, hey, this is what I want to do. Sure, she supported me, but she didn't necessarily understand, like, are you gonna make money? How are you gonna support yourself? You know,
mhm,
because it's not conventional, you know, to a certain
yeah,
extent, you know. And it made sense to her. I could always see the end game. I can always see where I want this to go, you know, at the end
yeah,
of the day. But it didn't make sense to her until, like, she saw me on TV, or somebody in another state got something in the mail with my face on it, or they were watching something in another state and they saw pictures of me, or I was talking to them in some advertisement, and it's her friends that are sending her me.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like to her,
You
you know
get
what
the
I'm saying?
real, yeah, you get the real. See, look, mama, I made it.
Yeah,
You get the
yeah. But you know, it's validation for your parents from other people. I can tell her I'm on set all day, you know, doing
no,
whatever. But it, like, some of the stuff she might not see. Like, you can make 100K a year just doing industrials, and people might not
mhm,
necessarily see those things, you know?
yeah,
Yeah, like, so there's just so much work out there
yeah,
that, until people are actually seeing it on the day-to-day basis, they don't necessarily understand, hey, you've been doing it for X amount of years, or, you've lived your life, off residuals for 5 years, off of stuff that nobody's ever seen,
Yeah.
So like, hey, have I seen you in anything? That's always one of the questions, but
Yeah.
like, maybe you have. I've been in a lot of stuff, like who knows,
Yeah.
but they're talking about mainstream stuff,
Yeah.
so if
No, and
that was that question.
I just appreciate you speaking to that too, because I, do some work in music, like hip hop and performance and stuff. And I don't remember who was interviewing about it, but they were talking about how, when you say, oh, I perform music or I do something music, they're like, oh, if you're not Beyonce or you ain't Jay-Z, then you ain't making it, right?
Yeah,
Like you
you
haven't done it.
trash. Yeah.
I'm like, there's so much in between, and even different avenues of how to
Mhm.
work within the arts and peripheral, and with
Absolutely.
music licensing and syncing. There's a whole bunch of ways to
Mhm.
kind of go about things. So for the creatives listening, I just I really appreciate you speaking on that.
Oh,
Um,
there's so many levels. You're
yeah,
1,000% right. Yes.
yeah. Now, do you feel like you got um any like particular type of inputs, even just being a man going to go and pursue some of these topics? Because I know, depending on the arts and depending on perceptions and other things like that, sometimes there's, I don't know, just different categories of which we're supposed to fit. And I think acting's a little more diverse than that, because there's clearly a bunch of male actors. But I'm just curious about that.
I'm not sure I understand the question. I'm sorry.
Well, I
Like,
guess
do you feel
maybe.
like I'm getting pigeonholed in
Yeah,
characters? Is that what you mean? Or
yeah, or like, for instance, I guess maybe what came to mind was, like, for instance, for, say, if I said I was going to go into the profession of teaching or this and that, like, some of the commentary that you'll get back sometimes is like, if it's a more field that can be dominated by certain genders, or that's not just the, like, conventional career path. Do you ever feel
Mhm.
like you got any type of pressure? And that might be a simple no. I'm just curious.
No, not no, not necessarily. Some people might be like, what did you do to have to get that role or something? Like
Mhm.
I'm giving hand jobs to somebody or sleeping with somebody's wife or something. Like, come on now. Like, I read the lines. You know what I'm saying?
You like,
I
got
was
it.
prepared,
Yeah,
like, period, merit,
yeah.
so
No, yeah, I feel you.
yeah. So it'll be
So
those weird questions like back in the day, but not anymore.
yeah, that's what's up. So kind of switching gears a bit. So how do you feel? And I think in particular, especially depending on the roles you're kind of playing and stuff, what does the word vulnerability mean to you, and how do you relate to that word, whether that's career wise or personally?
Okay, great question. Vulnerability, especially in my career choice, really just being open to the possibilities of the words, like, humans, us, everybody, we're so constricted on the day to day, trying to meet somebody's status quo, of
Hmm.
life, of the man, of whoever, So I always say, like, actors, we were taking on different roles. I'm taking on, like, a murderer last week, and
Hmm.
now I'm taking on this loving husband, this week, or next week I might be a crackhead or something. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And if you're really diving into certain roles, um, you really try to, like, embody them, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So that's where the vulnerability of letting yourself go and really capturing what the moment is in these words for this scene, for this particular person, because it's not you,
yeah.
you know.
It's a
That's
different.
yeah, that's where that comes in, and I feel like that helps me in my day to day life, or even in
That's
my
exactly what I was about to ask you. Yeah,
yeah,
for
because I
sure.
try to be open and just be more aware, be self-aware because of all the stuff that I've read that isn't me, or all of the baggage that I've collected, not necessarily my baggage, but word baggage,
Hmm.
from the scenes, if from everything I just said. So
Yeah,
um, I try to explain that to certain people. Some people kind of get it, but until, we or us, whoever it is I'm talking to, get into a kerfuffle or an argument, and they see the way in which I don't react, or I do react towards whatever it is they have done or the scenario is, because maybe they're used to XYZ, and me just being more vulnerable or open, my reactions aren't the standard,
Yeah.
So I feel like that for me, that's helped me. I
Yeah.
can see the evolution of myself, like from youth,
Mhm.
maybe getting upset over certain things, and now I'm just like, okay, I've processed it. You know, this can fit in this category. And just
Yeah.
maturity. And I'm just gonna let that go. You
Yeah.
know.
And do you think it even helps you to just to even further empathize with maybe where people are coming from? Because that the first thing that kind of came to mind is like you're bringing in and sinking into like so many roles. I would imagine to some extent that's kind of like an intimate connection with that character. So it just, it makes me wonder if that makes it even easier if somebody's like, breaking down something to you in their personal experience.
Like I
You
would I
know?
would like to feel like it makes it easier, that I can have a little bit more understanding. But what you said is right on the head, like
Yeah.
just being open. Oh, I did something, instead of me being like, nah, I'm not sure. Like the most defensive answer most people will give,
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe I did do that. Okay, I understand. Let me see how I can just be a better human for this scenario, just in case it comes up again. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, a part of my purpose, between this conversation and anybody that I talk to, anybody that I try to engage myself with, is just to be kind, be grateful, just be a good human.
Yeah.
And just try to put my best energy forward regarding that type of connection. And if I
Yeah.
can't do that, then I just have to separate myself.
No, I love it. I love it. So what did you another thing that comes to mind too is you said like word baggage are kind of carrying on a lot there. What do you feel like I guess maybe a two-part question. One is what comes to mind if I say the word mental health for you, and then, secondly, how do you manage yours and or relate to it, with all of those different streams of, I would imagine, like emotion and stories and stuff coming your way.
Sure, great question. Mental health is big on in my backpack, so I'm
Yeah,
glad that we're able to talk about that and normalize it between Black males. Just
absolutely.
period. Um, um, so regarding that, I feel like therapy is key.
Yeah.
um, Go to therapists, talk out my issues. I feel like it's very important. If you have an opportunity to seek a therapist or seek outside counsel, at least try it.
Yeah.
On any type of basis. Um, and I feel like regarding my personal therapy journey, because I've had depression, anxiety,
Sure. Yeah.
um, due to miscellaneous breakups, when my career is like skyrocketing and then something makes it teeter off, and then Corona happens. You know what I'm saying? And then,
Yeah.
yeah, that right there is literally like a alley oop of destruction. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. Crazy.
yeah, so, but the way that I've combated that, my anxiety, my depression, and just getting my mental health sharp again, was physical fitness.
Mhm.
For me, being physical movement is very important. Clears my mind. It kind of centers me
Yeah.
spiritually. Um, it gets my endorphins going, and being around really like my family, you know, um, and that helped, being around the kids, being around Audrey, Wendy, during this whole time period. Hadn't been able to see my mom, being able just to FaceTime my mom,
Yeah.
those were all things that were very important to re-ground me and get me back to my own personal center of just being happy. You can find happiness doing all these other things, sure, but if you're not happy on the inside, none of that shit matters
Yeah.
at all,
Yeah.
So, um, billionaires, commit suicide, actors
Yeah.
commit suicide,
I,
like
I
you
talk.
can.
Sorry. Yeah. Go
No,
ahead.
no, 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 no. But by all means, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it made it immediate. I was just kind of having this conversation where I was like, I think there are so many narratives that we get comfortable hanging on to around, like, oh, there becomes like a envy towards towards people's situation, or it's not even necessarily always envy, but I think people just disapprove of, oh, so and so's rich or this and that, and then there will be this like angst toward it. It's like, but I don't think they're happy. It's like, if you really look close enough, it's like that, that person's kid is on drugs. This person,
Hmm.
committed suicide, this and that. They're popping opioids to
Yeah,
just stay present,
yeah.
present for whatever, or not even present to escape the situation.
Hmm.
I'm like, if it was that cut and dry, you wouldn't have these issues in these different walks of life. But I think it was Jim Carrey who said something along the lines of, he was like, he's like, I hope you get everything that you think you want so that you understand that it's not it. And I
Exactly.
thought that was such a powerful statement. And it's just what came to mind when you were kind of mentioning that.
Yeah, Jim Carrey puts out some gems, like some really good gems too. Also, but speak about him, he was like, mental health is like, taking the avatar off of the game, and the game, or excuse me, and the avatar saying, I don't want to do this anymore.
Hmm.
So like
Yeah.
he's spot on with a lot of stuff, and I feel like he's found his own personal awakening, and he's on another plane. Um,
Yeah.
but you're spot on. I don't have anything to add to that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that the more and more I dig into it with like mental health work, and one of my good buddies kind of said something too. He's like, you're never going to be happy wherever you end up until you're happy where you are at. And I think,
Yeah.
like, I've been really trying to challenge just the argument of fulfillment within myself. And there's so many just poor habits I had picked up about trying to feel fulfilled, and then it's just like shit don't work after after a while, and that's a very real, it's a sobering reality,
Hmm.
when it's like when you start to develop a little more awareness around it. So
Yeah, the awareness is key. When you can stop doing the things that no longer serve your end game, your positive outcome.
yeah,
So
no, seriously. So a few more questions, kind of in the vein just of how men cry in general. So again, this whole movement and motivation is just to get men to speak more comfortably. I mean, exactly about what we're kind of talking about now.
mhm.
And what's your relationship maybe to the word crying? And I say that because when I think of crying, it's not necessarily just physical tears to me. I think that, men can have a lot of different means of crying out.
Sure.
And some of that, maybe to try to alleviate some of that hurt or pain or whatever else is going on. So, would you be comfortable, sharing either a story of a time that you cried, or even, maybe other means of crying out that you may have healed from, or anything like that?
Oh yeah, 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 sure, absolutely. Okay, well, probably not at well, most recently, probably would be maybe about a year ago, regarding just COVID,
Hmm.
and the uncertainty of certain things,
Mm.
um, coming out of a depression, coming into COVID, then going back into a depression.
I think I was
Um,
there with you.
yeah, like I'm sure there was a lot of crying everybody was doing. And this is one of the
Yeah.
times that, that really dawns into my head. Like, am I going to be able to see my family? Like,
Mm.
just the uncertainty of everything. My mom she's visiting me now, but she retired and moved back to Ghana. And normally we see each other, at least once a year, somewhere in the country. And this in particular time, we weren't able to, and who knows when we were supposed to link up again. So not being able to see her, the uncertainty of if she was going to still be healthy whenever I did see her, wondering whether or not I was going to be healthy to even go over there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
just all the things, you know, and then getting my COVID shot because I got vaccinated, and literally within seconds, like I started feeling reactions, you
Oh
know?
no.
Yeah. So like, I'm
Yeah.
like, did I do the right thing? You know, literally seconds later,
Oh
sweat's
wow.
coming out of my head. My body is like, my whole shirt is wet. They have to get the EMT to take me to the back, hook me up to not a defibrillator, but to check my heart
Yeah.
kg, you know. So I was like, and that's literally the last time I cried, because I was like, am I gonna die? Or do
Yeah,
I need
I mean,
to?
that's a very real.
Yeah, it's like I need to call. Like, vision is blurry. I'm thinking I need to call my mom or whoever's in this state that I'm in to let them know what is going on. If this is my last moments, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's real,
And
man.
yeah, and that was in April.
That's real. I mean, it doesn't seem like you have, and even just given a lot of the convo, and I hit the little switch up because I like to get both little
Mhm.
scenes of shots here. It doesn't
Sure.
seem like you have a difficult time being in touch with where your state of just feeling and emotion is. So it doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me that you can speak to that stuff comfortably. That's not it. That seems about right.
Yeah, state of
Yeah.
being, just be there. Just be fucking present.
Yeah. Now this one, this is kind of a I don't know, just more general question. Do you have kids by chance? I think you
No,
mentioned your
no
family. Okay.
kids. No kids. Just me and a dog, and my
Hey, okay.
Peloton. That's
Yeah.
it.
It's me and a dog, and I got a really angry cat. I love you, but she over there. She's 20 years old. It's actually my longest
Oh
standing
wow.
relationship. But I was gonna ask, like, so you've talked about kind of this growth and like maturing for your like awareness and your emotional
Sure.
state. Have you seen improvements through your relationships just from like you bettering your ability to connect with things or maybe speak better to them?
Yeah, some of them, yeah. But during quarantine, I realized that you can't always meet somebody where they are in life, So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I can maybe some conversations might be on par with what I'm doing or the words that I'm saying, and maybe some might not be,
Yeah.
So some of them are hit or miss, but I'm always trying to be better at the end of the day.
Yeah. Do you find it because it seems like and this is projection, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but how do
I
you
need to grab
feel?
my charger. Do you
Oh
mind?
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah. Go
sorry. I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Please do. Nah,
Sorry.
please do. Please do. And actually, while I have that moment for any of the listeners at home, because I ain't even gonna edit it out, I do want you all to go check out the Boston podcast. That's BOSS apostrophe N podcast and Guy on the Couch. There's some real dope stuff. And we're talking to a real life superhero over here. I'm gonna just be over here hyping you up. I don't even know if you can hear me right now.
No, sorry.
I'm just over here hyping you up, talking about how you're a
Sorry about
superhero and
that.
everything.
I needed to not let the laptop die there.
No, not at all.
Didn't want the conversation cut short. Now, what were you saying? I apologize.
No, and I was just over here plugging, just throwing shameless plugs for all your material. Um, but no, yeah. But so I was gonna ask, like, how do you feel like you find the folks that you kind of connect with or like resonate with the most? Because what immediately came to mind is with the different like diverse things that you have going on and the different projects that you have. I would imagine, and this might be all projection, I might be wrong entirely, so you can correct me otherwise, but I would imagine that uh, you probably have relationships that must have some type of depth to them, or maybe folks who can kind of resonate on your level. So do you ever feel like isolated within how you move through the world?
No, I can always. I feel like I have good. I guess the word would be good sounding board people. Good people
Hmm.
that can bounce ideas on, that move in the same type of way that I move throughout the world. I feel like if you don't travel, then your perspective is limited to a certain extent, So the people that I have deeper relationships with are my international type of folks. People that have traveled abroad, the people that have done backpacking. I can sit on the phone with them and just rap about whatever and not talk to them for 2 months and then get back on the phone and it's like we talked yesterday, So those are the ones that, those are the friendships and the relationships I feel like that are worth their weight.
Yeah, no, I love it. Now, do you find, I got a couple more questions for you. So one would be, did you find now or maybe at previous points in times like mentorship or folks that you kind of look to, whether that be for your career or even through your personal relationships? Because I know for me, trying to be a entrepreneur or figure things out in certain regards, that can feel like a bit of a road that I don't always see individuals who look like me on those paths, depending on where I'm going in business or some of my backgrounds in STEM and stuff. So I'm just kind of curious about that for you.
Like real, like hardcore, like role models ish that are like tangible. Other than family, nobody in my family is doing anything that I'm doing, So other than like morals, other than keeping my morals in check, that would just be all family, all my matriarchs, everybody that's older than me, that has raised me. So that would be the only type of thing. Other than maybe regarding with acting, maybe RIP my acting coach Daniel Foster. He encouraged and he drove us in a certain direction for personal, fulfillment and greatness, in his studio, Class Act, Dallas. I don't know. I think I need to ponder that one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just curious because of out of the many things that you've kind of named, it sounds like a lot of it, you're just very just very self-motivating, self-driven, but driven. So I'm just always curious about that one.
Yeah. And that's good and bad sometimes. Cause sometimes, someone wants to drive you, but you're like, I got it. Some of you like, but no, I got it. I've been doing this. I got it. Just let me run, It could be helpful and sometimes it can be hurtful. So,
yeah. Now I have a couple more for you. And this one's just kind of a 2-part question. And the first part of it is through the context of just how men cry and vulnerability and mental health. What do you feel that the world could use more of from men?
What do I feel the world can use more from men? I would say more home and family leadership. Keeping the families together. I feel like that is important. So if men as a whole, not just black men, white men, just men as a whole can keep families together, because divorce is high, right?
Yeah.
If we can keep families together or make that attempt, that's a great question. It's the first thing that came to my mind. I feel like that would be helpful because, I feel like I do good in a relationship. I feel like I'm just a better human in a relationship, I'm sure a lot of guys might think that too, or might not necessarily realize that they probably are, but I think that's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a solid one, man. I mean, I see it all the time. Like I said, I mean, I don't got no kids either, but for my buddies who I see raising families, I mean, there is a drastic difference of just that presence and that influence You know, just even in terms, if nothing else, the visual representation, you know, I think is huge. So
Yes.
now a flip of that question would be, you know, what do you think the world could provide more for men to maybe it's almost like a help me help you kind of thing. How do you think the world could maybe help men to better get to some of those points?
Well, for now I'm gonna split it up because I can only speak from a black male's perspective.
Sure, sure.
Now, I feel like that's important now, right? Um, Maybe stop locking us up.
It would help.
Yeah, stop shooting us for miscellaneous reasons. You know,
Mm,
stop. I can list off a whole bunch of other things, but
sure.
all the black stuff, everything that has to deal with black males um, uh, getting less than what they should. You know,
Yeah.
that's what the world should be doing first. White male society, we don't need to worry about them. You know,
Mm,
um, they're at the top. You know, so it's everybody else that needs to um, get their, I guess, reparations to
mhm.
be better than where we are currently. I feel like that's a choppy answer.
No, I mean honestly, I think it's a good thought experiment question
Mhm.
regardless, because it's such a, I think all of these, the conversation and like it's all tremendously complicated, and I think it just even the word just saying the word men
Yeah.
becomes a whole, that everything around that is complicated.
Hmm.
So, you know, and I'm not saying that in any positive or negative way. I think these are very sensitive topics. So, you know, I appreciate for that response, and just and beyond, you know, just all of the input provided today, and just your level of comfortability, you know, just talking about different things with mental health, and also really find it very fascinating, just that ability, you know, for you to be sinking in and digging into these characters. I mean, that added a lot of perspective, you know, for me, for a field that I'm not necessarily close to. So, you know, just thank you for dropping gems out here today.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time and your energy, having me on your platform. And anytime you want to rap again, you know, just holla at your boy.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm talking to Audrey. We're basically talking every day. She's been, for anybody who doesn't know, she's just one of the backing producers behind this, as well as collaborator, and just brilliant visionary who, I definitely look to her like a mentor. So, you know, I already knew you was going to be solid just from just from the connection. Yeah, so any final words you want to leave the listeners with, or any last, you know, plugs for any of your stuff where people can find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Darkston Gable, DarkstonGable, and on the Twitters at Selase Botchway, SELASE BOTCHWAY. That same name is for Facebook. If you're on the Facebooks, I'm not on there too much, but I do post some acting activities.
Nice.
And same Selase Botchway on YouTube. And Guy on the Couch is on YouTube. You can find that on Apple, iTunes, and Podbeam. And me and my cousin Audrey show Bossing on Be Positive Radio every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. is a replay, same Tuesday. So yeah, that's what we got
Awesome.
popping.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. And yeah, I'll be sure I'm gonna find you on IG too, so we can connect. And who knows, maybe me and Audrey can all sit down and break bread someday. I feel like there's plenty that'll come out of that conversation. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, man. But thank you again, just for your time, and for coming out. And thank you to all of the listeners for tuning in to the How Men Cry podcast. We're just looking to make these conversations a lot more easy and more regularly had amongst men in the community. So Appreciate you tuning in. You can follow and find more at howmencry.com or howmencry on IG, all that good stuff. But yeah, everybody, take care. Be cool out there. Be safe out there. And thank you again, Selase. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man.
Yeah, a long way from a stuttering kid. I didn't get enough love.